Yeah, this is I think it's one of my mom's favorite photos of me. She has it hung up in her work, I think. Um, but yeah, the eyelashes are frozen. So, oops. You seem to still be in good shape. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna like make a video of myself and be like, this sucks. It wasn't very fun. It's type 2 fun. It's only fun after the fact, but yeah, it was difficult mentally. Just so at this location, uh, where I was doing this, I was there for 4 hours before I got picked up. Um, and I think I had about 7 cars drive past in those 4 hours. So you're in the middle of nowhere. I'll quickly show you where that is. That's at the start of the Dempster Highway, just outside Dawson City, Yukon. There you go. It's this road, I guess Highway 5. Um, and there's nothing up this road for a very, very, very long way. At the end of it is like Inuvik, and then a little further, like Tuktoyaktuk. I think you can refuel here, but there's like nothing else here. Yeah, it's a motel and a fuel stop, but there's no cell network there. It's like you can't connect to anything. Um, I think it's we drove all day. It was like 12-hour drive or something like that, all along this, reaching the Arctic Circle. So there's barely anyone drives up here. So of the 7 cars that drove past, 2 of them were trucks. The second truck that drove past picked me up. The other ones, oops, the other ones were cars, and I think every single car that drove past me stopped to ask if I was okay because I looked like this, and they were concerned that I was freezing to death. I think they were just going up to this road because they said they were going to work or something like that. So somewhere up here, there's somewhere where they could work just up the first part of the road. But there's no services here. There's a gas station, but let me show you. Well, let me see if I can show you. So it's a gas station, um, but in the win so there's no inside to the gas station, or at least there wasn't when I was there. 'Cause I think all that was open there was the card lock, and you paid at the pump, or there's a tiny little booth that you paid in, but you couldn't go inside. There's no store to go into. Is this new? Because there definitely wasn't any services there, because there's just no cars in this parking lot when I was there. But yeah, this is where I was hitchhiking, just right here. Good spot to hitchhike, objectively, as far as like your the things you're looking for in a hitchhiking spot, but you're just not getting much traffic. But as you can probably see, that's the same sign there. Oh yeah, and then a truck picked me up after 4 hours, and I was excited about that. Then nice views on the Dempster Highway as well. But yeah, like over here, it's not a paved road. It's all like gravel and slate or something like that. That's the that's another trip. That's in 2017. Now we're in Russia. This is Moscow. They were doing renovations, and I just thought it was unique that they put up these like fake facade things up to make it look less ugly, apparently. Red Square, I was really impressed by Moscow. I thought it was impressive. The city, architecture, the size of everything in Moscow was huge. The streets were huge. You walk underneath the roads to get to the other side. Like you don't walk over them or anything like that. It's just underpasses everywhere. Um, I was impressed with Moscow. I don't know what that was, but it's interesting. It's a pretty beautiful city. I actually enjoyed Moscow. These guys, this is the second longest hitchhike I've ever done, from Nizhny Novgorod to Novosibirsk. about, I think it was close to 3,000 kilometers over 3 days. So it's just a little bit east of Moscow. From here. Curious what the actual distance is. Uh, yeah, yeah, just under 3,000 kilometers. My longest is 3,400 kilometers. Actually, I didn't even tell you about that. That was on my first trip across Canada and back. This guy's like so. It's almost a joke. Yeah. So this guy was the guy that was actually driving me. They each had their own vehicle and they were driving, they're like transit drivers. So what they did for work is they pick up cars in St. Petersburg, Moscow, or Eastern Europe and then drive them all the way back to, oops, all right, we're going to Sweden now, to Novosibirsk. And I guess I think the cars, they're just transporting them for sale there. I don't know. I don't know the exact details of their employment, but they were geared up. Like they had radar detectors for the police, they had CB radios, and they'd talk amongst themselves like while they were driving, just because well they did that like all the time. They just go back and forth. Uh, and Novosibirsk is like smack dab in the middle of Russia. Um, you're pretty much at the halfway point in Novosibirsk, so that was a very lucky ride. And then after there, you're past the halfway point, so things are going. But what I got about Russia is like hitchhiking there was easy. People would pick me up. It was fine. I saw other people hitchhiking. Uh, They hitchhiked on the side of the road and stuck their arm out flat and went like this. That's how they were hitchhiking. But they understood the thumbs up, so I just used the thumbs up because, yeah, they got the point. Yeah, I got picked up quick and I got long distance rides because things are really spread out. Once you get east of Moscow, it's like there's small stuff, but like you're going hundreds of kilometers. Almost every single ride is hundreds of kilometers, which is you get good distance, but with the language barrier, I found it rather it got boring. Like when you first get picked up, you spend the time and you try to like learn something about that person. They try to learn something about you, and you try to have a conversation. But it's a struggle. I don't really know much Russian. I tried to learn a few things, and I only met two people in Russia that could speak any English, and they're both doctors. Actually, one of the people that spoke English got me that ride. How I got that ride with these guys is because they had CB radios. Is the guy that was driving me to Nizhny Novgorod? It was one of those rare short rides. I think he was only driving me like 15 minutes, but he could speak English, and that was really cool. So I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get to Vladivostok. He's like, that's really far. I'm like, yeah. At that point, you're like 9,000 kilometers away from Vladivostok. Um, so he got on his CB radio, and in Russian, it's just like, hey, I have this Canadian guy that's trying to hitchhike his way to Vladivostok. Is anyone going anywhere east? And these guys came back. They're like, yeah, we're going to Novosibirsk. And he's like, can you take him? And they're like, yeah, we can take him. And he's just like says back to me, he's like, I got you a ride to Novosibirsk. I'm like, that's like, I didn't know how far, but I'm like, that's really far away. I knew that was kind of in the center of Russia. And he's like, yeah, they'll take you. I'm like, all right. I haven't seen these guys. They haven't seen me, but they just agreed to take me 3,000 kilometers. All right, I'll take it. I only had 30 days and 10,000 kilometers to get across Russia, so I was going for distance, not really for a lot of it was not about, you know, taking my time and exploring things. And the other guy that could speak English, where was I though? I think we're somewhere around here. Because I think when I got picked up the next day, I think I got a truck ride to Chita. I think. I think. But how that happened is I was hitchhiking out of a small town in somewhere around here in Russia. I remember going past Irkutsk and over this point, and you kind of go over like a hill thing, and then you see like Baikal. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but which was interesting. I don't know of any pictures of it. Um, but I forget if that was before or after. Anyway, small town. These two guys picked me up in just like a gray sedan car, whatever. Younger guys, and the car overheated and steam was coming out, like, and they poured water into the radiator and stuff, but the car kept overheating. And at some point, they're like, "Yeah, it's done. Car's done." So then we were all hitchhiking. Well, kind of. What I learned and what I saw other people doing and what I experienced in this instance is when a car breaks down in Russia, you don't call a tow truck. No, you flag down a car, and everyone has like a piece of yellow rope in their car. It always seems to be a piece of yellow rope. It's not a thick rope, it's a really thin rope, and they just attach it to like the, the little loopy thing in the front of their car, and they attach it to somewhere like a supporting structure on the back of another person's car, and they just drag you to the next service area where you can get service. And I never saw money exchange hands, just people will stop their car and someone pulls out the yellow rope and they drag you to the next town. And that's what happened. Is it was nighttime at that point, and we're all like flagging down cars, and it was a. Wonder if I can find it. Russian van. Uh, it didn't look. Was it like that? It looked very Russian. It looked kind of like this. It looked kind of like this. But it had a red cross on it. What it ended up being is he was a doctor, and he was a rural doctor, and what his job essentially was is when he was working, he would be driven around. He had like a driver for this van, and he'd go to these very, very small rural communities in rural Russia and serve that community for an amount of time, and then go to the next town, and then go to the next town, and then go to the next town. Um, so he was on his way home, and this van towed these people to the next service area. What? Oh, we can't see. Oh, sorry. I didn't put it back to this. Sorry. I forgot I switched it to the because yeah, anyway. I apologize. I forgot to change scenes. There you go. Now you can see. Because like these look too four-wheel drive and just too done up, but it looks something like this, but I think gray with a like a red cross, like a medic kind of thing. No, these are two ambulance. I don't think it was green like army green like that. Well, it's not medic. He's a doctor, but no, it's just yeah, it's gonna be ambulances. It wasn't an ambulance though. Yeah, so van kind of like that. But we got dragged to the next little service area. There wasn't really much of a town. It's just like a garage, um, like where someone fixes cars. And found out the guy could speak English, and that's really cool. So we were chatting and stuff like that. I'm from Canada. That's very interesting to this guy because we're in the middle of nowhere in Russia, like really the middle of nowhere. Like once you get off this main road, like there's like small towns, and then there's the occasional larger place like Irkutsk and stuff like that, and Chita and stuff like that. But and once you get into like these areas and like you're in these towns just off the highway here, there really isn't much going on. Russia was the first place I went um, where it really like I saw like poverty for the first time. Let me see if I can get a street view up here. Well, this place has an airport. Wait, it doesn't look too shabby either. Anyway, I still want to see the street here. Just see a random road. Oh, we haven't driven through here before.